Hi, I'm Vanessa from Jeddle, and today we're going to be talking about the key themes in Oodgeroo Noonuccal's work. But before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to our channel or go to jeddle.com to get even more resources like this about your texts. There are three key themes that you'll find in Noonuccal's poems, and they are cultural identity, spirituality, and place and time. Let's start with cultural identity. What is it? It's basically the beliefs, the experiences, and the history that define who a person or a group of people are. In the case of Noonuccal's poems, many of her poems deal with Aboriginal cultural identity and sometimes also Chinese cultural identity based on her experiences overseas. Many times she'll also talk about cross-cultural experiences where her identity and the Chinese people's identity link together, and she talks about the way that they connect and the way that their two experiences align. Next up is spirituality, which is a theme that also connects to cultural identity. Spirituality is basically anything that is concerned with the human spirit. So it can be the soul, the afterlife, death, or even our ancestors. And these are really important themes because they connect to her Noonuccal's Aboriginal identity, but they also are referenced in the Chinese people's cultural identity too. And we see the way spirituality reoccurs or connects across the poems because of this. And lastly, we have place and time. And these two themes also connect with cultural identity and spirituality. We see this because place and time as ideas are really significant for Aboriginal people. Place, and particularly the environment or the land, is connected spiritually for Indigenous Australians, and the significance of the environment is a reoccurring theme in the poems where place becomes the source of spiritual reflections or cultural identity, explorations of culture. And it's the same as well for time. We see the way that for Aboriginal people, time is not as finite and as structured and linear. It's something that flows, and people are connected to their ancestors in the past, and they're connected to the past as if it's happening in the present or still alive in the present. And we see this in many of Noonuccal's poems. So it's important to think about the way all of these themes connect with one another, and they don't just stand alone. Looking at a particular example that you might use in an essay, Noonuccal's Indigenous spirituality connects her to her ancestors. The spirits of the past are applauding my efforts. The plosive sounds mimic the oral imagery of their applause to reinforce the speaker's confidence in becoming the next custodian of her culture. So in this particular quote, we have a reference to some plosive noises with those hard P sounds, spirits of the past applauding, and that sound reminds us of the noise of clapping, which is also a plosive sound. So it's really creating the imagery through the sound. And that imagery reinforces her Indigenous spirituality, her connection to her ancestors, and the importance of that connection so that she can carry the legacy of her ancestors and her cultural identity. So just through this piece of analysis, we can see the way all those themes are connecting with each other and interplay with each other. And we've connected the Indigenous spirituality and those values back to the actual techniques to make it really clear for the marker how everything connects together to express this message around the theme of spirituality and Indigenous identity. If you like this video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and head over to jeddle.com to get even more resources for your texts.